Hello, beautiful mamas. As a working mom, sometimes I can really feel scattered, unorganized, or simply just rushing from one thing to another and all over the place. Finding time for myself and finding my sanity can almost feel like an impossible dream. Can you relate? Well, this is why I have created my free Mama's Guide to Creating Balance and Harmony as my gift to you. This guide contains my top 10 tips to creating balance and harmony in your life, as well as 3 beautiful trackers to help you get onto your journey in a fun and simple way. I have found by incorporating daily self-care routines and practices in my life for as little as 5 minutes a day, I am feeling more grounded, centered, and calm. By me tapping into my best version through these practices, I am also a better mom, a better partner, and a better colleague. Well, really, just a better human being in all the ways. So, if this sounds like something that you would like to explore, click on the link in the show notes below and download your free guide today.
We were all born with the innate power of knowing and wisdom within us. The challenge for many of us is that we were taught to seek answers externally instead of searching from within. And this is the reason why so many of us find ourselves going around in circles, searching for new ways, but could never find the way. The womanly way. It's not the way. It's not my way. But it is a pathway to support all of us returning back to self, reconnect with our inner wisdom through loving ourselves, knowing ourselves, and reconnecting with ourselves.
Tell me and be honest. Tell me should I've known.
So we can start to find our own way as modern day women. Are you interested? Well, sit back, relax, and welcome to this amazing journey.
Hello. Welcome to this episode of the Womanly Way podcast. This episode, really, it's inspired by a friend of mine. Hers, like seriously, I am blown away by her dedication to hold herself account and to continue to explore the different ways that she could utilize a community to support her. And she reached out to me. Well, actually, she reached out on social media and said, look, I need an accountability buddy. And I said, hey, happy to be your accountability buddy. And this was a month ago. She's an amazing accountability buddy. And she's also great in terms of keeping herself account. And recently she posted on Facebook and go, I need more accountability. So she's actually starting a group of like-minded friends who are all keeping each other accountable. I was like, that is amazing. And she actually contacted me privately. She's like, oh, it doesn't mean that you're not a good accountability buddy. I just feel like I need more. And I said to her, look, I think you've done an amazing job in doing so and continually to look for more ways that you can keep yourself accountable. So there's no hard feelings. I should really admire you for it. And in fact, you've given me an idea to talk about in my podcast this week. So accountability is actually a topic very close to my mind because I was never the type of person that was going to keep myself account. Years ago, before I started personal development, I was very good at looking for excuses. I was very good at looking for blames and blaming others for why I couldn't, right? it wasn't until I started personal development, I realized a lot of the things that I wanted to do, no one else can do it for me. And then I realized, oh, wait a second. That's everything in life, basically. You know, how you do something is how you do everything in life. And when I started to shift, it was because I started to take myself. I started to be accountable for what I want and stop blaming other people. And what I'm seeing a lot of times are people who has got great desires, who has got great visions in life, but they fall short, right? We all do. I still do. But I really truly believe the difference between people who continue to grow and develop and improve in this game of life are those people who maybe fail 1 month and they'll be like, okay, yeah, this month I didn't quite get my goal. What can I do differently next month? What can I improve on? What can I do better? What did I not do well? And how can I change that? And really, this goes back to my theory, right? We all need to start treating life like a business. Because if you start treating life like a business, you don't take things personally. And it's like, so right now, at the time of this recording, it's the 2nd of September. I'm reviewing what I didn't do so well, what I did well in August, and I'm setting my new goals for September. There's no hard feelings. We just gotta keep going. Right? Keep going, keep doing better. That's all. But what a lot of people do is they're like, oh, I couldn't do this because August was a bad month, the weather wasn't great, I didn't have enough time, my kids got sick. It's not my fault, essentially. In fact, I actually had a conversation with Scott this weekend. So he was at a conference learning decentralized finance and how to trade essentially crypto. And he said to me, I really, really want to make this to work. But what I'm finding is I don't have the time. And I kind of giggled inside and I said to him, look, based on my observation, I don't think it's a matter of time. It's a matter of whether you are healthy enough to work an extra hour or even an extra half an hour a day. The reason I have this observation is because I'm on the same boat as him, right? But instead of focusing on the time that I don't have, what I started focusing on this year is my health. And I noticed the more I focus on my health, the healthier that I am, the more energy that I have. It meant that even if I have a late night 1 week or a late night or 2, you know, I recover a lot quicker. Because I actually have the stamina now to... I'm trying to avoid using the word push, but essentially it's to have more output at the end of the day after George goes to bed, because that's really the time that we have as parents, right? And still have enough energy to do the basics the next morning. You know, when I say the basics, is whatever that you need to do every single day as a parent, as an employee. And really, truly, I really think people often say, oh, having a side hustle is like taking the easy way out. It actually isn't, because building a side hustle is so much harder than building a business, because number one, you have very limited time. You may have very limited energy. And Scott said to me, no, really, it's the time. I'm like, no, it's not the time, because if you look at the times that you go to bed, some days he's so exhausted he'll be in bed by 8 o'clock. Imagining if he looks after his health first, he might be able to go to bed at 10 and still have the energy the next day. It may sound like I'm picking on him, but the reason I use him as an example is also because that was what happened to me. I went through a phase in my life, obviously as a new mom, where really for me, I only have enough energy to put George to bed, maybe do some house chores afterwards, and that was me. But by focusing on my own health and taking charge and asking myself, what do I need to do to improve my overall energy level so I can do an extra hour at the end of the day? I wasn't blaming on time. I wasn't blaming on George. I wasn't blaming on all the other stuff around me. I was asking myself, what can I do to improve my own situation? And I'm seeing this so much more, especially now that I'm growing my own business and my own team. Whenever I approach somebody and said, I've got this business opportunity, I can say to you, probably about 70% of the time, people say to me, I don't have the time. Some people are genuinely busy, right? They may have a side hustle already. They might be looking to grow their own side hustles and they don't want to be distracted. But often people are saying to me, I don't even have an hour extra in a day. And really, from my perspective, I think it's more that sometimes we're not hungry enough, or we haven't got a big enough vision to do what we want to do. Because if you have a big enough vision, an hour in your day isn't hard. It's 6 little slots of 10-minute slots, or 4 15-minute slots. And I truly, truly believe we all have that. But it's just easier to say I don't have the time. You're like, Lala, it's easy for you to say. I'm like, well, actually, it's not, right? Because I don't have the time used to be my excuse. It used to be my excuse to not do things. But it wasn't until I realized by saying I don't have the time is doing a couple of things to my psychology. I realized I needed to change that. And number one, it's a mindset of lack. It's the same as saying I don't have money, because when we say we don't have something, we go into a mindset of lack. Again, how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you continue to apply that to all other areas of your life, I realized that I was in such a lack mentality because I'm always in a hurry and I never have enough time. And then therefore, I'm just rushing through life. I'm not being present. But also at the same time, that becomes a really easy excuse because I'm not blaming on somebody. I'm just saying I don't have enough time. That's a great excuse. It means I'm not doing anything to move myself forward. And the magic is when I start to say that I actually have a lot of time, if I just really look hard on my day-to-day, there's time everywhere. There's time when I'm having breakfast at work. There's time when I'm walking towards my office. There's time when I'm having lunch. And really what it comes down to is how you use that time and what tools that you use to utilize your resources. And what I'm finding is, sometimes we blame it on time. Sometimes we say, I'm not good at it. And then a lot of times we blame on other people. We blame on our coach not doing their job. We blame on our mentors not helping us. We blame on our boss not looking after us. We maybe even blaming on just anybody and everybody and saying, well, they're not helping me. Or in my friend's case, she could have blamed on her accountability buddies and go, well, you guys are meant to keep me account. But this is the reality, right? It doesn't matter how many accountability buddies that you have, how many coaches you have, how many mentors you have. If you're not taking action, if you're not taking charge, if you're not keeping yourself accountable, nobody can help you. It really all starts with you. Having the support network, having the people around you is for people to remind you sometimes, or for you to remind yourself. The key psychology behind having these people is that a lot of times when we promise people something, we feel like we have to achieve it. It's a bit like my podcast, right? Because I promised that I am having this podcast, it doesn't matter how, what, when. The truth is I'm exhausted today. We only just got home and we had so much to do. We had to take all the rubbish out for our large garbage that we have. So every year, we only have one day a year where council come and pick up our rubbish, like the bulk rubbish. And I've been tidying up our garage. I've been getting things ready. So this afternoon we were busy. And then George wanted to go out. I was exhausted by the time I put George to sleep, and I could have just gone, you know what? No, I'm not going to do a podcast today, but I feel responsible, right? Because I made a promise. Because I have this show, I feel responsible, and therefore I do it. Also because I just love sharing things. I love sharing ideas. But there are days where, because of you guys, because of my support network, because of my community, it gives me the extra motivation. And this really is what having mentors, coaches, and accountability buddies really do, because you feel like you have promised them something, and so therefore you're going to deliver it. Yes, sometimes you will have extra bonuses where, your coach or mentor or your accountability buddy will go, hey, remember me, even though you didn't pay me, or even though, you pay me very little, but I genuinely care about you. But the truth is, no one can ever motivate you beyond what you can motivate yourself. If you make that decision that you are going to be the person that drives you. And ultimately, if you don't want to do it, it doesn't matter how hard other people push you. You're just not going to do it, right? So today's podcast was really inspired by this little action that looks little, but it's actually massive from a friend of mine. And I really want to have this as a reminder to everybody that you really can achieve whatever you want, but you need to start taking responsibility. But you need to start taking responsibility of your dreams, your ambitions, your visions, and your actions, and stop using people around you, or using time, using your resources, using anything and everything you can think of as excuse. There's no excuse, right? If you got to dream big enough, do it with no excuse. Just continually to show up day after day, month after month, year after year, and just know that the hard work will pay off. If you can treat yourself and treat life like a business, so there's no hard feelings when something doesn't work out. It's all about, let's work together. And when I say work, let's work together, it's me and life, right? Me, life, my spiritual team. Let's work together and figure out together. And when things go wrong, we're not blaming anybody. It's like, okay, shit happens. How do we fix it? How do we continue? How do we improve? How do we make it better? That's all. And when you live life this way, it's so much easier. Because it just is. It just is. There's no right or wrong. It just is. This has happened. How do we fix it? This has happened. How do we fix it? Oh, this amazing thing has happened. How do we celebrate and move on? How do we celebrate and remember the successes and move on? Right? I'm not saying move on in a way like, okay, we've done it, that's enough celebration, but we don't dwell on the good nor the bad. We just know that our job is continue living in the moment every single day and making every day a better day. So eventually we can get to our vision and have greater visions and continue to live our vision every single day. That's what drives me. I mean, it may not drive you, but I believe if you're listening to this podcast, this is something that you're looking for, right? And hopefully this gives you a bit of motivation to continue. And as per usual, if you ever want some extra support in any area, feel free to reach out. Always happy to riff on any topic that you think is relevant to you. On that note, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed my riff today. And I hope this episode has given you some inspiration, motivation. And I hope that it's just what you needed today. Love you all so much. I will catch you on the next episode. Bye.